Hi guys, welcome to Bearkat Countdown. My name is Shaylin Goodwin, and I am here with
Evan Elder.
And I'm Hunter King.
And we are super excited to be here, joining you from Tailgate Alley at the Bowers Stadium. We are super excited. We see nothing but a sea of orange. How are we feeling today?
I'm really excited. Like you said, all you see is orange. All the students are out here excited for the first home game. I feel like Sam is ready to bring home the first win of the season.
Yeah, it is quite a sight to see. I mean, I haven't seen a crowd this big since pre-COVID at a tailgate show, so this is really exciting. I think fans are really amped up, ready for this transition year, and they are really happy. And we'll see how they do against Northern Arizona today.
Yeah, for sure. Well, tonight is the first home game out of 4 games here at our home turf. So we are facing Northern Arizona. Unfortunately, both teams lost last week to strong opponents, but we are both looking for a turnaround.
Yeah, so Northern Arizona is coming off a blowout. Sam Houston State Bearcats are coming off a blowout, but you know, we're 2-2 in the series with them. We won the season opener against them last year, so I feel like we'll be ready to beat them this year.
Right, that game last week against Texas A&M, we'll obviously get into that here in just a few minutes, but it was a tough one, but there are some takeaways that you can really pull away from that game. There were some down times, but at the same time, there's a lot to be positive about for this Bearcats team.
Right, yeah. And it gives us more room to grow as a team and grow with the new transfers, the new players, and just grow overall as a whole unit. So how are we feeling about last game's loss? So I know we had about 50 players who touched the field, but we only had 22 who were playing the first game as a Bearcat.
Yeah. So, I mean, last year, like, obviously we did take a loss. So, but the team did show a lot of room for improvement in a lot of areas where they already excelled in. The defense did pretty good stopping the run game. They couldn't really stop the passing game, but most of the yards came on third down. They just couldn't get third down stops. The first touchdown of the game was on the 3rd and 11, a 60-yard touchdown. We could have got a stop right before halftime. It was a minute left, and it was 3rd and 8, but they aired it out to Anaya Smith, a 43-yard touchdown. So every touchdown they scored was on third down. We just couldn't get those stops when we needed them. But they did show a lot of good stuff. They had 2 picks. They forced Haynes Kings into 2 picks. B.J. Foster had a pick, and Cam Alexander had a pick. So there was a lot of good, and there was a lot of bad.
Right, yeah, you bring up a good point because that secondary from the Bearcats defense looked very, very good.
Very good.
And obviously, a lot of them are transfers. B.J. Foster, like we mentioned,
yeah.
he got a pick there in the first half. He is a transfer. It is looking like a very strong defensive team. As for the offense, they struggled. However, they played some very tough team. They did play a very tough team against Texas A&M. So we'll see how that fares today in an opponent that is more, you know, you have more opportunity to score against them. So we'll see how that goes.
We didn't do too well passing the ball, but I feel like it's because we have a new quarterback this year, a transfer from Georgia Tech, in Jordan Yates, and he might not be too familiar with our system, and he might not have the chemistry and the timing down with the receivers yet. So
you guys,
maybe, you know, they probably took a lot of time this week getting them ready. And then this is an FCS opponent this week too. So last week was an FBS and an SEC opponent, number 6 ranked Texas A&M. So maybe an easier opponent will allow them to fully be themselves this week and come out on top.
No doubt.
Right. And well, when bigger opponents are on our schedule to go against, like Texas A&M, it's more enticing for athletes from high school to want to maybe join the Bearcats, maybe become a Bearcat themselves.
Right.
So what do you think about that? How's the transition for that, especially being a Bearcat ourselves?
So
I'll go ahead and take the reins for this one. You always want to try and set your team up for success. And the way you set your team up for success is really recruiting. And a big key to recruiting, you can ask any college football coach, they will tell you need to have the level of competition. You need to have an enticing schedule. You need to have a reason for players to want to come play for your team. So, you know, Sam Houston playing Texas A&M this year. They'll be playing Colorado State way down the road. They'll play BYU. You know, they're playing big, tough opponents. And then obviously they'll be transferring into FBS, into Conference USA. So these are big things for Sam Houston, and it really will affect the recruiting, whether we see it or not right now. down the road, you're going to have lots of recruits who are going to be looking at Sam Houston more than they would have before in years prior.
Especially entering Conference USA. It's a bigger conference. We play bigger teams next year as well. Just like we played A&M this year, we'll be playing BYU next year. So it's just a lot of room for, you know, people to scope us out and like, okay, they're playing tough opponents. I feel like it would benefit me coming to this school.
All in good timing, man. There's always room for improvement no matter what level you're at, you know? All right, well, let's talk about some key players. So, obviously, we had a pretty awesome defense against A&M offense last week. So the SHSU, well, basically won by, we had an interception by BJ Foster in the second quarter and another by Cameron Alexander in the third. It was the first time for the Cats that we've had 2 interceptions since an opponent since Baylor in 2012. So how are we feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. You know, some of the key players for the matchup today is still BJ Foster. He came from UT, like y'all have already said. You know, he's already played tough opponents like A&M before. So I feel like this should be a walk in the park for him. He's one of the leaders. He's one of the leaders on this defense. He had 5 tackles last week in the pick. I feel like another key player would be Markel Perry. He's one of the veterans on the team, a defensive end. He had 7 tackles last week, 3 for a loss against a pretty good Texas A&M offensive line. You know, they have 5 returning starters. Those are 2 of the key players I'm watching out for on the defense specifically.
Yeah, on the defense, for me, I'm going to have to say Trevor Williams. He also had a great game up there with Markel. 7 tackles as well. He had a really great game. You will, if you are NAU today, you want to be watching out of the corner of your eye for those 2 guys, especially Markel Perry and Trevor Williams. So
especially because you can't see Trevor. He's a little short. He's on the short side.
He's fast. He's short and fast. And he will sneak up on you if you're not careful. So Trevor Williams is definitely a person on the defense to watch for me. On offense, I do want to see how Jordan Yates progresses since last week, if they so choose to play Yates today. Obviously, we have heard Keegan Shoemaker is also in the mix, but Casey Killer has been very adamant about wanting to pick one guy. So we'll probably see Yates out there today. But on offense, the key player for me, I want to see how Jordan Yates plays. I want to see if he can stay in the pocket a little bit more this game. Obviously, hopefully less pressure on him throughout the game.
That's one of the key. My bad. You can go ahead and speak.
I was just going to say, I will say that with Yates' performance last week, I do believe it kind of, you know, he was improvising a lot. He was kind of like doing this, and that. That was unexpected. So he kind of set the bar, in my opinion, for the season. I'm excited to see what he does.
Yep, that's a good point. There were plenty of drives that could have ended much sooner had he not improvised. So, you know, there was a lot of pressure. Part of that is offensive line, but also there are times where you need to collect yourself and stay in the pocket. So there are improvements. Obviously, both sides. It's a team effort. So everybody's going to work together and try to improve
that goes hand in hand with what I said earlier about the timing and the chemistry. It was some plays where he did leave the pocket when his receivers haven't fully developed their route. You know, he wasn't looking for them, but that's just that timing aspect. But at the same time, the offensive line had a lot of breakdowns, and he was sacked 6 times, and he was under pressure a lot. So as a quarterback, after you get sacked a couple times, that timer in your head starts going off, and you got to get out there. So there was a lot of times where I saw him take off, and it wasn't necessary just yet. You know, the pocket might have been collapsing a little bit, but I feel like he could have waited in there and delivered a throw to his receivers.
Exactly.
But that's something to look out for this week.
All right, fair enough. So let's talk about Desmond Jackson. He got the majority of the handoffs last week. So what are we expecting for this week?
So that's one of the transfer players. He's from Oklahoma State, so he's a powerhouse school running back. I honestly was not expecting that type of performance from him. You know, just 7 carries for 9 yards. I expected him to be way past 10, but you know, A&M, their front 7 did what they had to do, slowing him down. I mean, he's new to our system as well. I feel like as a running back and as the running back coach, you know, and as an offensive coordinator, they need to find their identity, you know, running the ball. You know, they can do what they did last week against NAU and probably have success, but, you know, against A&M, a school with the big D-line, you know, with big guys up in the trenches, you're not going to – I didn't see any movement backwards when our O-line engaged with their D-line. you know, we probably will see some of that today, but I just feel like, you know, they should try maybe some outside zones, you know, some stretch plays, something along those lines. But I feel like, you know, as he gets more comfortable in this system, you know, he'll start to be that breakout player that we expected him to be.
Yeah. Well, we actually heard from Desmond earlier this week in the media day, and he talked about how he wanted to read the defense a little bit better.
Right.
You know, that's understandable. I don't think there's any issue with Desmond. It was just a tough opponent, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
So I definitely expect today, as for your question, what do we expect to see from Desmond? I think we'll see a lot more runs today for sure against a team like NAU.
Yeah. I think there'll be a lot more holes open in the defense as well. It's hard to run when there's no holes to run through. So.
Right. Okay, so that being said, so are we expecting anything from last game to partake in this game, or are we expecting a completely different turnaround?
I would say both. I'm expecting a completely different turnaround because I'm expecting a win, but I am expecting the defense to play just as good as they played for a portion of that, or the majority of that game this week. You know, it's obviously not as strong as an opponent. And, you know, we're fresh off of a win against them in our season opener last year. So the series is 2-2, and I know they definitely want to get to 3-2 and take the upper hand in the series.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of that. Obviously, we want the defense to be the same because the defense was good last week. Offense, I think we are going to see, knock on wood, I think we're going to see a better performance from the offense. I think we'll see Yates kind of settle down a little bit more in the pocket. I think we'll see Desmond run the ball more on offense. And then, obviously, the receivers, you know, they've had more time to learn routes, to pick up the schemes. So I think we'll see more coordination.
Yeah.
Casey Keeler talked about this week after the Texas A&M game. He talked about how he just wanted more communication between players and the coaching staff. So I think it's going to be more cohesive this week as far as running plays goes and communication on offense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, last week our leading rusher was our quarterback, and our leading receiver was one of our backup running backs. You know, Cody Crest, a veteran, he only had 2 catches for 9 yards. Ife, you know, one of the best receivers in this conference, he only had 2 catches for 17 yards. Noah Smith, you know, same thing. I think he had 3 catches. So I just feel like our receivers will have a more opportunity to get open and get loose in the backfield. I mean, you know, downfield. I have a sleeper player to that I feel like everybody should be on the watch out for. Another transfer from the University of Texas, number 4, Alvante Woodard. He's a big, strong receiver. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He's got speed on him, size, hands, strength. You know, so he's just as hard as Noah and Ife to tackle just because of his agility, but he's just as fast as him as well. I feel like this is the week for him to get acclimated into the offense.
Well, it's definitely no secret. Jordan Yates has quite a field to throw to. He's got really good receivers. It's just about communication, like Casey Keeler said, so we'll see how that goes.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much. We're going to bring some freshmen in to tell us a little bit, one freshman, just to tell us a little bit about his first tailgating experience. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Doing good? Is the headset good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Well, so what's your name and what's your major?
My name's Brandon Moss. I'm an accounting major.
Okay, exciting. That's a little intimidating. I'm not a math person, but awesome. So, so far, what has appealed to you most about Sam Houston? What brought you here?
It was honestly the community. The people here are just so open and welcoming. The first time I toured campus, I just knew it was the campus for me. I honestly haven't felt a better sense of community at any other campus but Sam.
Oh, that's awesome. I've noticed that too. I'm a transfer student. So what is your favorite SHSU tradition so far?
I wouldn't know yet. I'm excited to try them all.
Fair enough.
It's only my 3rd day out here. I don't know.
He's like, we'll see.
I mean, I went to the Bearkat camp, and that was amazing. I would totally recommend that. For any incoming freshmen, it definitely opened my eyes to like the community and just like friends in different majors. I mean, freshmen, you always take business cores or freshman cores. So, I mean, you always meet freshmen, but you never really get the sense of community until you kind of get out there and meet different people other than you.
Yeah.
And everyone's just so welcoming.
Okay, awesome. So where is your favorite place to study on campus?
The library. Oh, yes. So awesome. Yes, the library.
Okay, perfect. And favorite place to eat?
Chick-fil-A.
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 Can't go wrong with
Why
Chick-fil-A.
not Generals? Why not the cafeteria?
I mean, Generals is really good. It's right by my dorm at Piney Woods, so I eat there a lot. But if I had to like sit down and say where I'm going, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
So on Sundays, you're really like craving Chick-fil-A,
Chick-fil-A,
right?
Chick-fil-A.
You're like,
And of
man,
course
they're
it's closed.
But all right, so where is, or what is your favorite pastime on campus? And then what is your favorite pastime off campus?
On campus, I would definitely say the like center campus vibes whenever there's clubs there and everyone's kind of recruiting.
Right.
It's just so fun. Like everyone's there trying to have a good time and everyone's giving you free stuff and you get free shirts.
Yeah.
Off campus, I would probably say the food. Love going off campus for food. It's so amazing. There's so many places here that are like individual, like they're not franchises.
Right.
So like until you go there and eat it and you're like, wow.
Yeah. The little mom and pop shops are where it's at.
Yes.
But okay, so what has been the most memorable moment for you so far?
Bearkat camp.
Bearkat camp. It just
Yeah.
knocked it out of the park for you, huh?
The counselors there and everyone there was just so amazing. I honestly, if I had to do it again, I would have to do bear camp. There would be no way I wouldn't do bear camp.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So what is one thing that you wish you had known before coming to Sam Houston? Is there something that you wish you would have known?
I mean, no. I mean, I have 2 older siblings and they're both in college, so I got like the rundown. Just like be safe, if that's like the main thing at campus. I mean, everyone here is alone in a sense. Like, yeah, you have friends here, but everyone's kind of alone. So like, if you're feeling lonely, like talk to someone on campus. Like everyone kind of is in that same boat. So everyone's here for you to be safe. So I feel like the safe community is amazing here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining us.
no-
It's been
no
an
problem.
absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Have a good time at Tailgate, okay?
Y'all too.
All right, awesome. So let's move on. So we're going to talk about the Hall of Honor. Can you tell us a little bit about Hall of Honor, Evan?
So the Hall of Honor is just basically Sam Houston recognizing former student athletes and their academic success along with their athletic success. And they had an initiation program in the LSC ballroom today. I think it was about 8 or 9 people that just got initiated into this year's class of the Sam Houston Hall of Honor.
Yeah, and it's a really great lineup, to be honest. There's a lot of history here at SHSU and sports, and you really you look back and you appreciate everything that has happened over the years. So those people are obviously going to be recognized here at the stadium today, and for good reason. They had great careers here at SHSU.
And most of them are donors now. You know, they give back to the community, whether it's money, experience, just time, coaching, mentorship. So, you know, once a cat, always a cat. That's what they say.
Right.
So.
For sure. Well, those Hall of Honor recipients are Brian McDonald, Ashton Mitchell, Alicia Fowler, Chris Louvier, Brandon Mosley, Desiree Taylor, and Melissa Tyler. So super excited to see that. Congratulations to all the recipients. I know we're super proud of y'all and can't wait to see what else y'all do. But
keep carrying on that Bearkat tradition, y'all.
Yes, for sure. All right, let's talk about the history of Sam Houston.
Let's do it. So the history versus NAU. Not much history, to be fair, but there is history there. So let's talk about it. The last time Sam Houston played NAU, Eric Schmidt threw for 275 yards and 3 touchdowns to 3 different receivers. And that was the first game of last season in the fall of 2021, just 4 months after they claimed the championship for the FCS. So let's talk about that. So there is a lot of turnover, like we talked about. Lots of players who did play NAU last year who are no longer here.
Yeah.
So what do you guys expect to see as far as, you know, let's focus on the QB part first. Eric Schmidt threw for 275 yards to 3 receivers. Do you expect to see kind of the same game plan from Casey Keeler in the offense like they did last year, or do you expect to see a change?
I definitely do, because most of that, you know, their safety and the defensive backcourt is returning. So we aired them out last year. I feel like we can air them out this year. But, you know, switching to the defense for us, their quarterback last year had a pretty decent game. He threw 2 picks, but he did throw 1 yard less than Eric Schmidt. He threw, 1 yard more. I mean, he threw for 274 yards. And that same quarterback is here this year, so I feel like he's coming in confident because, you know, he knows what he's capable of doing against the defense last year. But we do have a new defensive back, a completely new defensive team all around. So I don't think that they'll be able to have too much success against us, especially coming off of a blowout loss last week against Arizona State, who, you know, we lost pretty bad too last week, but we did play a way tougher opponent.
Yeah.
Now, I agree to an extent. You know, we've already stated that we've had 17 transfers. So that alone, that kind of gives us, you know, a little bit something different to work with. And, you know, I believe you said we have a whole new defensive set or team now, right? So with that, you kind of got to take that into consideration with new talent and how the new talent, you know, mixes in with the old talent, you know, just to see. So I'm interested to see how this whole season plays out. I'm interested to see if it's maybe we take a little bit from last year and integrate it into what we have this year, or are we going to just strictly stick to the plays that we had last year?
Right.
I'm interested.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Last year against NAU, the Bearcats opened with 21 unanswered points, but then the Lumberjacks had cut it to 21-10, and they were driving again before Trevor Williams intercepted a pick six, actually.
75-yard pick
right,
six.
right. It was a
To the
big
crib.
interception. Yeah, and that's really where the tide really shifted in that game. There was basically no more hope
all
for
momentum
right,
for them.
right. So my question to you guys is, you know, how important is it to get off to a good start in this game today?
It's definitely really important just because, you know, we're coming off of a loss. You know, a scoreless game is always drains your momentum and, you know, it ruins your hopes and everything. But, you know, coming out to a good start today, a fast start, would, you know, especially for Jordan, you know, it would help boost his confidence, you know, help him feel like he's actually gotten acquired to this system and help him feel like he belongs right here. It would be good for the receivers because, you know, most of the receivers had a below average game last week. So, you know, just each of them getting maybe 3 catches would be a pretty good confidence booster for them just because, you know, last week wasn't too pretty for them.
Right, right. It's basically a brand new start here. Here at home, first home game of the season. So we'll see how it goes. We actually heard from players and coaches earlier this week, and at Media Day, we heard from Casey Keeler, we heard from Desmond. So we'll go ahead and we'll hear what they had to say from Media Day earlier this week.
You guys obviously faced Northern Arizona to start the season last year, and with every year teams look different. What have you seen in film so far to prepare for the Lumberjacks this weekend?
They're a solid team. They just came off a game against Arizona State. They didn't do too well, but I'm sure us and them are looking to make those corrections and just come back the second week stronger.
What are you expecting from them again this week?
They ran a lot of spread, a lot of tight formations, just trying to see what our defense is going to do to align to them. But I feel like we should be pretty good this week.
Last week against A&M, it felt like the, you know, like big plays were part of an issue. I think a 67, 63-yard, 43-yard touchdown. Is there anything you can do in practice to try to correct that, or is that just kind of like an on-the-fly thing?
No, we could definitely fix that. One of our emphases was our miscommunication. Those big plays were just we weren't dialed in together. Teammates on the field and like getting the calls from the sideline. Sometimes we mixed it up. So just this week, like I said, we're just emphasizing our fundamentals and our communication, just getting all that down. Because honestly, those big plays shouldn't happen last Saturday, but we can only learn from it and move on and do better.
For a new defense, I think it's 8 new starters. Just how far do you think this defense has come, and where do you think you all are as a unit now?
From last year to this year, I say we're pretty good. It's just, you know, like Coach Keeler said, half of us are new coaching staff, half of us brand new players. So I feel like that first game, it was just all of us getting acclimated to each other and just seeing how we mesh and communicate. So I just think throughout the season, it's just going to keep getting better and better.
You guys outran Texas A&M, one of the top offenses in the country. What did it mean for you guys to be able to do that, and how it prepares you for going into this week?
Yeah, it helped a lot, you know, to see, you know, where we matched up against those guys. You know, those guys were huge guys. You know, you're not going to find many guys who are 6'3", 6'4", 325. So, you know, and our guys held up well. So I think it really showed us a lot like who we really are. And, so that's really going to help us going into the season.
First home game, just kind of what are your feelings, heading into Bauer Stadium for the first time, and then just what drew you to transfer to Sam Houston?
Yeah, I'm very excited, for the first home game, see the fans, having got the experience yet with the home crowd fans. So, I already see what that atmosphere like on a Saturday at Bauer Stadium. Just the right fit. I did my research on these guys, and I already knew about Sam Houston. So I just felt like, it was a great fit, and it was really a no-brainer with my situation.
Desmond, I know it was a tough game for you personally against A&M, trying to get going on the ground game. What have you been working on personally in practice to get ready for the Lumberjack front seven?
Definitely just working on just being, more disciplined, when it comes to my reads and taking, even the smallest hole, that my O-line gives me, really have to, I can't, you really can't, after that game, I really realized that no matter what happens, I really just need to, make a play, and whatever my O-line gives me, I really have to work with it and be disciplined.
What are your expectations, I guess, moving forward? I mean, with this offense, and now that you're really getting into getting closer to kind of your conference play and the opponents that you're going to be seeing the rest of the year?
Yeah, really, we want to, get back to playing our style of football, limit the mistakes, make the plays, play at a fast enough tempo to where we're not just, lackadaisical, and, we're really trying to get on the ball fast and really just give it to these guys, whoever is in front of us from here on out, because, they're not used to losing around here.
What did you see from your quarterback, Jordan Yates, his performance there in the season opener?
Yeah, that was my first time really seeing, Jordan in action. I was playing by us both being here for the first year. I really seen him make a lot of plays and get us out of a lot of sticky situations. He made a lot of plays with his feet. He made some throws, and offensively, just us as running backs and receivers, we just have to make the play when he gets the ball out to us.
Very good Northern Arizona team. Last year they beat Arizona. This year they got a much tougher Arizona State team. So I don't know if they know how good they are because of how good Arizona State is. I know last year we were really impressed with them, and they have a lot of that team back. So yeah, I mean, we're excited to get back into Bowers and kind of try to get back on track.
All right, guys, we'll start off with a question from Colton Foster for Coach Keeler.
Hey, Coach, you kind of mentioned, last year's game. How much of that do you go back and lean on, since they kind of had, I think, like 15 starters return or even more?
Oh, sure. I mean, you get a chance to see their talent, their general schemes. I don't think they've had the changeover we've had, new O coordinator, new D coordinator, new special teams coordinator. We got the whole thing going on right now. So yeah, I mean, I think that you can look at their tape from last year, and the guys that we had playing for us, we have a pretty good feeling for our talent level last year. And like I said, we left there going, that's a good football team that's going to continue to get better. So I don't think they know how good they are, because that was just they hit sort of a buzzsaw in a very good Arizona State team. But I'm sure they're going to try getting back on track, and obviously beating us would be kind of put them in the national spotlight, and so our guys know how important this football game is.
0-1, you guys are disappointed, not used to that feeling. So what does kind of having that feeling, do you feel like that fuels this team, and does it make you even more hungrier this week in your home open?
In the locker room post game, there was no moral victory. It wasn't like, I mean, our kids were like, we played cleaner, we could win, could have won that game. That was our mentality.
Facing Northern Arizona again this year, obviously in a much different atmosphere compared to Flagstaff. I mean, just what does it mean for you guys to be back at home in front of the home fans?
I'm excited for our guys, to go out. We anticipate a really good football game on Saturday.
So you just heard from some of our players and coaches about how they're mentally and physically preparing to go beat NAU today. Now let's talk predictions. Now, me personally, I'm more of a diehard fan when it comes to, my teams and my school. So I'm definitely expecting Sam Houston to go in there and come out with the win. What about you, Hunter?
Right. Obviously, we're a little biased because we are here as Sam. No, but I do think Sam Houston does have the edge in this game. In fact, I think they're favorites today as well on the scoreline. But I think Sam Houston is going to get that offense a lot better this week compared to how it was against Texas A&M. And then I do expect the defense to stay strong from last week. I think it's I'm going to go out on a limb and say the final score will be 35-0. I think they're going to shut them out.
Man, I don't know. See, Northern Arizona, I mean, I think they're going to put up a little bit of a fight, you know. They have a little spunk to them. But, so, I don't know, man. I mean, obviously, Sam Houston diehard, but let's go 25-16.
All right, I like it.
Sam Houston.
You said 35-0. I'm thinking more of 35-10. But either way, I feel like we're going to come out of here with a win.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So, thank you all for tuning in to Bearkat Countdown. The countdown is officially over. And now it's time for football. We've had friends, we've had family, and we've had tailgating. But now it's time for the football.
Yes, let's go.
Stay tuned for next week. We'll have Cat on the Street. That's the segment where we'll be on campus going around asking trivia questions. It'll be some easy questions.
That should be exciting.
Yeah.
Some brain
Be
teasers.
watching for us on campus.
Yeah. do not run away from us if you see us walking towards you with a
Give us
camera.
like 5 minutes, please.
Right.
But as I said, it's time for football. The Bearcats are here in Huntsville, Texas, 6 p.m., taking on Northern Arizona University. The game will be streamed live on ESPN Plus with Tom Franklin and John Harris. You can also catch it on the radio at 101.7 KSAM Radio. And you can also catch it on KSHU 90.5 The Cat with Carlos Zimmerman and Brian Adams. Stay tuned until next time. Eat 'em
up,
Cats.
Cats.